So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech, and welcome to this iPad Pro 9.7 full in-depth review. Now, if you're new to this channel, this is going to be a customizable review where you can go down below in the comment sections below here in the pants area, where you can go to the sections that you want to see in case that you don't have time to watch this full review. Now, I do pretty long reviews when I do my reviews because I have an understanding that, some people do not give a crap about the camera, or, some people do not give a crap about the screen quality, like being the highest, sharpest, but they do care about the performance, or vice versa. They don't care so much about the performance as much as they care about the camera. So with that being said, you can go to any section you want. And if you don't want to watch the full review, then you can get out of here. But if you want to get the most in-depth understanding of this iPad Pro right here, 9.7, I would highly suggest you watch the whole thing. And yeah, this has been about 4 weeks I've been using it since the impressions video of the iPad Pro, or the first look that I did on this guy. So I'm going to shut up now. We're going to turn it over to the tablet. Let's get into this right now. Let's go. All right, guys, so welcome to the first section of this full review of the iPad Pro 9.7. We're going to kick this baby off with a hardware tour of the device. So on the front of the device, you're going to find yourself that 9.7-inch Retina display. And I'm not sure of the exact resolution. I believe it's 2048 by 1440. All I know is it's a 2K display, and it's very sharp. It comes in at 264 pixels per inch on the front of the device. Up at the top, you do have yourself a 5-megapixel iSight camera right here up at the top. At the bottom, you do have your first generation Touch ID right here. At the bottom of the device, you have a dual channel speaker here. And if you flip it to the top, you also have speakers here. So it's full stereo sound on both sides, or all four sides of the device here. Now, going off to the front, you're going to see we do have, or the front right side, you do have your power buttons. Well, not your power buttons, your volume rocker switches that are going to enable you to, put the volume up and down as standard per all tech products. Over here, you have your connector pins here. This is for like putting your smart keyboard on here and things of that nature. At the bottom of the device, I forgot to mention, we do have our Lightning port right there, which comes on all Apple products. No switch anymore for, turning off silent and mute. And up at the top, I do have a power button here, as well as a 3.5mm headset jack. And right here on the back is going to be, what is that? That's that 12-megapixel iSight camera that is found in the iPhone 6s of the world. And that's a True Tone LED flash, a first for an iPad. So you do have a flash on your iPad here. Now, you do have the Apple logo here, which is a little bit different from the older ones, as it does have, gloss inside of it rather than painted on like on some previous models. I'm not sure if the Air 2 had this glossy. It might have had painted on model, but maybe it was about the same. But you can see right here, iPad here logo. So pretty much standard stuff. I mean, it doesn't look too much different than the iPad Air 2. It's like literally identical. Sans this camera on the back, which is a huge upgrade, but we'll talk about that later. It does have a pretty big hump there, as mentioned in previous episodes. This is Humpty Dumpty camera here for your iPad Pro 9.7. Now let's get into the next section, which is going to be the build quality of the iPad Pro 9.7. Taking a little bit of time to discuss the build quality on the iPad Pro 9.7. This is going to be a short section because it is just incredible. This thing is built out of, 7000 series aluminum, just like the, iPhone 6s. So it just feels very solid and at the same time, very balanced and light in your hand. So this is one of the most ergonomic big tablets that you can buy. I think it's very comfortable to use. And the screen quality itself is very durable as well, pretty scratch resistant as well. I do have a tempered glass on here, but I found that there to be no problems with the, the whole tempered glass. Also, the home button is really clicky, just like previous iPads, but I found this one to just be a bit more sturdy than my previous iPads that I've had in the past here. But overall, everything is nice and well put together, typical Apple quality. I don't hear any creaks and pops nowhere around this device, and it's just pretty solid, as you can see right there. Very solid device here, and all around just a supreme premium that just screams premium construction here for the iPad Pro 9.7. So if you were wondering about the build quality on your 9.7 iPad Pro, you probably weren't wondering because you knew it was premium, but I'm just confirming it for you here. It's premium all the way around. There's not a seam or a thing out of place. This is superior build quality here for the iPad Pro 9.7. In this section, I want to talk a little bit more about that screen, a little bit more about that screen quality. Now, the screen itself, like we said, it's the Retina display, but it does include something new here for 2016. And if you go into the display, you can see that it does include the True Tone, option right there, which is basically going to make the screen warmer, but it actually adjusts the ambient light sensing to different environments. So overall, this screen really adapts and it's very pleasing to the eye. If you're someone who strains your eyes a lot and these tech products hurt your eyes after a long period of use, this might be one of the longest lasting period of use devices that you can use without straining your eyes. Also, the viewing angles are pretty superior on here, and as per the iPad Air 2 as well. Just a great all-around screen. Not too much different from that one, but I did find it to be warmer than the cooler screen of the iPad Pro, Air 2. And this one is supposedly is cinema grade. So, if you're into making film and editing videos and things on here, if you get the more higher storage version, this is going to be great color reproduction. It's very accurate, very well balanced. Now, it's not very vibrant like the AMOLED screens of the Samsung devices, but it is very clear and very color accurate. I think photographers, videographers, as well as anyone who just wants a more color accurate display, they just want a clear, crispy display. They don't want something that's just like, oh my God, blows me away, so vibrancy, this will be a great display for you. So that's all I wanted to say about the screen and its quality. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, display on any tablet in this price range, or not this price range, but in this size range. So from like a 9.7 to a 10.5 inch tablet. Now, a lot of people may argue that the Tab S line does have a better, superior screen, but this is a personal preference for me because I am a photographer. So I am being a little bit biased in that, but I'm letting you know you might differ, and that's cool too. But all I gotta say is this is a very accurate and clear, crispy display, and you decide to buy this tablet. If you decide to buy this tablet, you are not going to be disappointed unless you're expecting vibrant, deep blacks and punchy colors. If then you might be disappointed. But other than that, you're going to be very happy with the display quality here on the iPad Pro. All right, guys, in terms of the performance of the iPad Pro, this tablet just screams. It comes with an A9X chip. That's the fastest mobile chipset in any mobile device right now. It's actually quicker than the 6S Plus, which has been a screamer, and according to a lot of my research, this is one of the fastest mobile chips in any device. I think only device that might be a little bit quicker than this is the iPad Pro 12.9, just because of its 4 gigabytes of RAM. This does rock 2 gigabytes of RAM. And overall, in the real world, the performance in all categories of this iPad Pro is just a beast everywhere. I'm talking, just browsing through this, it doesn't even break a sweat, nothing. But in terms of like when you get heavier, you really start to notice the performance. It'll handle heavy stuff like it'll handle, light stuff. So in terms of just a powerhouse of a tablet, this is it. The price justifies the performance here because this is probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest mobile devices I have ever used. And I'm not kidding with you guys, like this thing just flies. If you see we're going through things, it's just a screamer. And this is not even indicative of the real world performance. If you start getting into like video editing, you start getting into graphic design, heavier things that are actually going to tax the CPU and the GPU, this is definitely going to handle it just fine. And this tablet doesn't even get hot when it's performing heavy. So that's one great thing too. I found this tablet to just be a performance beast, very efficient all around. You probably already knew that, but you know what? This is the review. And in my 4 weeks of using it, I have not noticed one hiccup or lag, regardless of what you were doing. The only time I noticed any kind of glitch was maybe like the eBay app force closed, but that's not really the tablet itself. That's more the third-party app that needs to be optimized for it. And on the latest version here, we are on 9.3.4. It just keeps getting better and better. So if you're looking for a beast in performance, I kid you not, as well as you've heard everywhere else probably, this guy, in my experience, has been the most powerful mobile device I have ever used. So if you're into performance, look no further than the iPad Pro 9.7. All right, guys, I want to take a second to do a sound quality test now. It's not really going to show as much here on the, through the camera and through my mic, but in reality, this thing gets really loud. And what's nice about it is if you ever notice, like, we're going to go play one of my videos. If you ever notice, like, a lot of speakers on mobile devices they'll get loud, but then they'll get really low. But this one has a nice range of sound. So it sounds good all the way through its bar. So you can really get low, you can really get medium, and you can really get loud here. So let's take a look at my best laptop and tech bag, the previous video I did on the channel. And let it play really quickly here once we load up. So you can see we do have the volume controls. So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech. Are you looking for a back-to-school backpack that has laptop? And what's nice about this is that if you're covering the speakers at the bottom with your hands, you still have audio firing out this way. So if I was to display this for you, the audio is channeling like this, out this way. And if you cover here, there's still audio coming out this way. And it's like almost impossible unless you have like caveman hands to cover the whole entire thing. Like you would have to have a paw the size of like 2 hands to cover this whole thing up on both sides. So it's not gonna happen for most. And the sound is just very punchy and deep, as you can hear one more time. Slots, cell phone slots, all kinds of gear slots for stuff that you want to put into your backpack. Well, I found what I think might be one of the best options. And you see how you can really tune it down and still hear it? So if you're somebody who rides a bike or a motorcycle or something like that, so if it's nighttime, you're still gonna have a nice, rich experience. But if you want it really loud, office or something, but you also need a backpack for the portability because you can't carry it on a hand all day. This might be a perfect. In my video, let me show you where my video is not even the best tune for audio. I do decent audio, but I'm not no audio expert. So when you have even music, like those super tuned Spotify songs or whatever, like those are really rich in audio quality. This is gonna sound even better. Also, speaking of the sound quality itself, coming through the headphone jack, it's amazing too. So if you love your audiophile, you don't really mess with the outside speakers, you have like some pair of great headphones. This is one of the best DACs in here on any mobile tablet that you can buy, and it sounded amazing with my Sony MDX AP50s or whatever the hell they're called. But it sounded great on my Sony headphones that I've done a review on in the past here. So in terms of the sound quality, both from the speakers and the 3.5mm headset jack, they sound incredible. So you're not going to be disappointed with the sound quality on the iPad Pro 9.7. All right, guys, let's take just a second to talk a little bit about the camera. This has been one of the most phenomenal things that I've loved about this tablet. Is this camera is amazing. This camera is like the iPhone 6S's camera. It's like literally the same on the tablet. But what's awesome is that it has the viewfinder that is huge, so you can see everything. So this thing you can literally create a whole YouTube channel on, and you could even edit in 4K. This shoots in 4K. So if I go to settings here, let me go to settings really quickly on this tablet. Let's go to settings. And let's scroll down until we get to, where is it? The general, is it camera? We're looking for camera here. Let's find the camera. Videos. Okay, I don't know where it is right now. This is a lot of settings here. But basically, you can shoot in 4K here. You can shoot in 1080 at 60 FPS, 1080 and 30 FPS. And you do have the ability to turn on live photos, you can see right there, which takes a snap before you do your regular picture, and then you can kind of see the moment before. You do have video here, slow-mo, time-lapse. So it's really feature packed here in terms of the camera. This is a creation beast right here. So if you want to create videos and memories and things like that, this thing is a creation beast right here. You're gonna love this thing. The front camera is amazing too. Hello, you could see, hello, how are you doing? The front camera is amazing here. And literally, if this is like the only mobile device that you're willing to spend a premium price on, you literally don't have to buy a camera or anything else. I mean, a lot of people say don't shoot with a tablet because you don't want to look stupid, but who cares what people think, man? Like, if you got a beast of a camera on your tablet, who really cares what people are like looking at? I don't care, man. Like, the freaking camera is amazing. So I'm going to take some great pictures with my iPad. So anyway, in terms of the camera quality, it's got a 4:3 aspect ratio, so it can't shoot in 16:9. I haven't found a way to do that. Maybe there's some third-party apps that do it. But your images, 4:3 just basically means they're a little bit more like this instead of widescreen. So in terms of that, you're going to have to live with that a little bit. But overall, the quality is tremendous. If you took this out as your primary camera, you would be very impressed with this. So I think that's great for people who like to travel. Like they're traveling around, you know, in the car and they take the tablet. They want the kids to watch a movie with it to keep them distracted for a while. But then you need the tablet for yourself to do some memories. You can have a great camera right here. And then you could edit it right here in 4K right on your tablet. So in terms of camera, beast all around, 10 out of 10 in terms of the camera. You cannot go wrong with camera. Actually, this is the best camera you can get on any tablet right now. And it's actually close to most smartphones in terms of the camera quality. And I'm talking even close to like the LG G4, the Note 5, the Note 7. It's close to those. I wouldn't say it's quite better, but it's close. So it's a pretty great camera and it does live up to its pro name in terms of the camera quality. In terms of gaming performance, I did download like 17 games on here, which I might do a gaming review on this. If you guys want to see that, go ahead and drop that down below in the comments if you're more interested in the gaming. I'm not going to play them right here on camera, but I can assure you that all those games load as quick as they did on the SE, the 6S Plus, and probably even faster and more smoother. And it's such a, you know, immersive experience here. Let me just go ahead and load NBA Live here, for example. You can see how it's just, look at that. It just flies right in. You're already in the game. Like, this is an incredible gaming experience. So if you want a mobile device for gaming, I think I would actually go so far as to say that this is probably, this along with the iPad Pro 12.9 is the best like gaming experience you can get, because Apple does a really efficient GPU on their tablets. So this is just beastly in terms of gaming. Very enjoyable experience, and I think you're going to be very happy if you decide to pick this up as a gamer. Now, you might have to get like an OTG cable right here or something to plug into your monitor if you want to play it on a bigger screen. In terms of just like the size, the 12.9 is probably better for gaming, but you know, to take this out everywhere you go, to school, to wherever you're going, you know, to the cafe, to the library, to travel, to your friend's house, to whoever's house, this is just a beast to have in your pocket in terms of gaming. You can play all your games on here. The only thing is you might want to go with the higher 64, I believe it's the 128 gig version. It goes from 32, 128, 256 if you want to store a bunch of games, because they do take up quite a bit of storage here. And speaking of that, we're going to now get into the storage and the pricing of the iPad Pro 9.7. All right, guys, in terms of the storage on the iPad Pro 9.7, I did pick up the 32 gigabyte version, which I think most people are going to pick up just because it's the cheapest price. But it's actually pretty solid storage. I mean, I got a bunch of stuff on there already, and I got 14.3 gigabytes left, 88 photos, 52 apps. And I still got 14.3 gigs. I usually offload stuff onto the computer, so it doesn't really matter for me to have the most storage on a tablet. Now a phone, I do want more storage, and that's why I got the iPhone 6 with 64 gigs if you've been watching that channel. But in terms of a tablet, I think 32 will suffice for most people. That comes in at 599 bucks. So this is steep in price. However, if you go to like Best Buy or you go to like, you know, Walmart or somewhere where you want to buy this tablet, sometimes they got deals on these tablets where they knock like 100 bucks off. It might be $499.99, and at $499.99 I think it's a really great deal. $599.99 I still think it's worth it for all the beastly performance and cameras and stuff you get in here. Although coming in at that price, you might want to consider, you know, looking at laptops as well. But, you know, I think most people who are getting the iPad, they're not really cross-shopping laptops, you know, even though Apple likes to say this is going to replace your laptop. From my experience, it actually can replace your laptop if you're not a heavy computer user. So if you're just checking email, you know, you can actually get by in college with something like this, because really all you got to do is pound out some Microsoft Word, and the Microsoft Word application is now available for some iOS right here. But when you start having to download programs for your classes, that's where, you know, not having Flash and all those extra, you know, PC-based things or Mac-based things that allow you to open programs is not going to be available here on the iPad Pro. So it's kind of hit or miss. You know, light users could get by with this over, you know, a laptop, but in terms of the pricing, it's pretty steep, you know, for most people. But then again, for a lot of people, it's not too steep. And then 128 jumps up to $799, and I believe the 256 is $899. So you're getting right around Mac level prices here with the iPad Pro 9.7, well, at least the entry level MacBooks. And that's the highest version of the iPad Pro. But overall, that's the storage and the pricing. Comes in 3 different flavors, 32, 128, 256, and goes from $599 to $899. So it's pretty up there in price, but you get what you pay for with this guy. You gotta pay to have the best of the best here with the iPad Pro 9.7. All right, guys, in this section, I want to talk about accessories that go along with this tablet. So I got this little stylus, but this is not the iPad Pencil, or did I just say the iPad Pencil? The Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil, you can get that guy. You know, it's $100 extra, so that jacks the price up even more. And I have used it at the store. I haven't used it on this tablet, but it's very super accurate. And that's a great thing about this tablet. There's so many accessories that are going to be going along with it. They got Bluetooth keyboards by Zag, by who's that other keyboard maker? Logitech. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in terms of the third-party market, and it's only going to grow here as the time goes on with the iPad Pro 9.7. So if you wanted to transform this guy into like a little laptop, you can do that with those accessories. And if you're a graphic designer or somebody who needs to really draw and do a lot of designing stuff, you can get by really well here with the iPad Pro 9.7. And it's actually like a godsend for graphic designers who can just go into the Notes application and they could just start drawing all over the tablet with the Apple Pencil, creating some masterpieces right here from the tablet. So overall, accessories to go along with this tablet is a win. All right, guys, in this section, I just want to talk about my real world usage with this guy, like kind of discuss with you guys what it's been like for me. Now, we talked about pretty much everything that comes with the device: the screen quality, the software, the internals, quick performance. You know, we did all that kind of stuff, speakers and stuff. But how has it been for me in the real world? It's been great. You know, it's like super reliable. This is what I got to say about this tablet. Like, it's just very reliable. Every time I pull it out, I know that everything's just going to work, and it's going to work flawlessly. This is the closest thing to flawless mobile experience I've had on any device. And I know it might sound biased coming from your ears, but I'm just giving it to you from my perspective. You might not like iOS, but you know, on a tablet, I think iOS works really well, because on a tablet, you just want to get in there and, you know, consume stuff, you know, create things, and you want it to work pretty efficiently. And I think it works very efficiently here on the iPad Pro 9.7. You could say the same about previous iPads, but something about this tablet just screams speed and performance. And every time you pull it out, you just know you're going to get things done, and you're going to get things done quickly and efficiently here on the iPad Pro. Now, a downside to that is you can get a little bit addicted to this guy because it's so fast, but you know what? At the end of the day, you got to have some self-discipline when it comes to that aspect, but that's just a personal opinion. Now, in terms of the battery life, I found it to be really good, but it's not as great as like the previous iPad 2s, the 3s. Back in the day, they used to go over Apple's suggested 10 hours. This one actually comes in a little under, or just hits the 10-hour mark. For me, it's about 9 hours, 45 minutes. It comes in right around there before it gives up the ghost. And about 10 minutes, that's when basically 10 hours, that's when it actually is almost dead. So it's like right in line with the numbers. It doesn't exceed the numbers like a previous iPads of back in the day used to exceed the numbers. I used to get like 12, 13 hours on screen time with the iPad, you know, of the past. This one is actually right in line. That's probably because of all of its power. But overall, 10 hours is a lot of time. So in terms of battery life, you're still going to be very happy with the battery life on the iPad Pro. Just don't expect it to exceed what is stated. It actually hits exactly what is stated at 10 hours battery life on time. In terms of the cameras, it's been great using this with, you know, the cameras have been great to just pull out and take a picture. I actually might be recording some future videos with this because it just shoots in 4K. It's just amazing. This tablet is amazing for the camera. Also, in my other real world use cases, throwing this into a bag and going to the cafe, it's like one of the most best experience. If you're somebody who likes to bike, you're active, you need something really light, this has been great for that. And just using it like an iPhone as well, basically, is cool too. So, you know, comboing this with your iPhone, if you got an iPhone and this, it's a great combination to have, because you got iMessage right here, and you got, you know, all the other Apple services that go along with your iPhone. And if you got a MacBook, it goes along with that too. So that's pretty much my real world use cases. It's really great. But now I want to get into the negative aspects of the tablet. I know you might be saying, is there any negative aspects? And I think there is a couple of negative aspects to this tablet. And I'm going to let you know what they are in just a second. Although these negative aspects are coming from my personal experience, so that doesn't conclude them as facts. It's just I'm giving you my experience to maybe help you in your buying decision if you might agree with some of these things. So let's get into the negative aspects right now, guys. All right, so I was kind of nitpicking to find some negative aspects because there's not many here with the iPad Pro 9.7, but one of them I want to say, even though the Retina display is very, very sharp, 264 pixels per inch, After looking at a 2K display on my smartphone, now, like I say, coming from my perspective, I can still see a little bit of, pixelation, or, it's just not as crispy clear as, like, even the Retina display on the MacBook Retina looked a little better than this. I didn't think it got as bright, it didn't get as bright as some of the AMOLED screens I have seen. So in that case, really good bright screen, but it's not ultra bright. The screen was great, but it didn't blow me away, basically. So you could say that's a negative aspect. It's more of a personal opinion, but still, I gotta let you know from my experience what I've been experiencing. And that's coming from my personal perspective. If you have a 2K smartphone, such as one from Samsung, or possibly not LG, they have pretty dim screens, but from Samsung, or maybe Huawei or somebody, this is gonna seem a little bit dimmer than you might come to expect. But at nighttime, it's super glaringly bright, but I'm just saying in the daytime. Another negative aspect is that the battery doesn't, exceed the expectations like I talked about previously. The battery is great, it's good, but 10 hours is nice, but I used to use an iPad 2 and that thing would go like 13 hours. So I was expecting a little bit more, but you know what? At the end of the day, the speed makes up for the lower battery. And yeah, what's another negative aspect? The size is a little bit awkward. Like, yeah, it's nice and portable, but maybe the iPad mini is a little bit more portable for you. But it's a little bit of an awkward size, and I think holding it in one hand is not as comfortable as something like an iPhone 6 Plus or something like that to use for extended periods of time. So I don't think this is a tablet you're going to use like, hours on end. I actually prop it up on something that'll hold it up, because although it's light and thin, it's very thin, so it's a little slippery, and that makes it kind of awkward. So I think it's a little bit of an awkward size. I know a lot of people probably will disagree with that, but in my opinion, 9.7 inches with these thin bezels, slippery back, and thin sides, it just makes it just a tad bit awkward to hold for extended periods of time. Now, if you prop it, like I say, this is when you're like watching it or using it for hours, I think you are gonna get a little bit of hand fatigue here on the iPad Pro. Nothing like those heavier tablets, but it's just gonna be a little bit, awkward. But that's just my negative aspects. That's pretty much all I found with it. Like I say, those are not facts. That's just my opinion. You might differ. And actually, I want to know if you have any thoughts about the iPad Pro. Leave them down below in the discussion area or the comments section. Now let's get into my positive aspect sections. And then we're going to talk about who this tablet is for. And we're going to wrap that up with a conclusion. So let's get into my positives. All right, guys. So my positive aspects of the iPad Pro 9.7 is number 1, performance. Number 2, cameras. Number 3, battery life is very good. Not great, like I said, but very good. And the fingerprint scanner worked pretty quickly as well. I like that. And another positive aspect is just the all-around package. It's a really great all-around package. You don't feel like you're missing out in any area of this tablet. Like, if there's something that, you might be thinking that you're missing out on, it's probably the lack of innovation. Like, it's pretty much iPads. It's not going to feel much different if you had an iPad before. Like, any iPad that's ever been created, this is very similar, just kind of brought to the modern times with the modern specs. But that's a great thing. It's an ultra level of refinement here on top of the previous iPad. So what I mean is that this is like, the Mustang. So imagine a Mustang. I'm pretty sure you know what a Mustang is. Mustangs, have been being in the process of refinement over the years and years, and the Mustangs today are really, really good. Once again, you might not like Mustangs, but you cannot discount the fact that they've been refining the Mustang, and it's got great quality now. Similar to the iPad. The iPad's been out for years now, and they've been refining and refining and refining, and they put a lot of great up-to-date specs in here. And it just feels like a refined experience that cuts no corners, and that's why I say you get what you pay for. So that's a positive aspect. It's a great all-around package here on the iPad Pro 9.7. Now let's get into who is this tablet for. So who is this tablet for? Well, this is a very universal tablet, and the reason I say that is because of the iPad Pro having the pencil support, the connector right here for the keyboard. It could be for somebody who wants to replace their light using laptop, a student who doesn't really need all those flash programs or extra programs for school. This can be great for the kids, with the stereo sound. If they love movies, they can sit in their bed and watch a great movie without having to use their headphones. It can be a great thing to draw on for the kids. It could be great for somebody who's a graphic designer or even a professional. So this is a very universal tablet that fits across the board. If you fit into any one of those areas, you're going to be a very happy camper if you decide to pick up the iPad Pro 9.7. Also, could be for somebody who wants to game portably and they don't want to keep using their phone's battery and killing that using gaming. A great gaming device here for you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, this is pretty universal. It'll fit for a lot of people for a lot of different needs for this tablet. It's not like, you know, one of those smaller tablets that like maybe a Google Nexus tablet that's going to really fit the Android heads of the world who really want to just tinker around with the tablet. Like, this is very universal, can fit a lot of different people from your, you know, your average Joe to your professional videographer. So that's pretty much gonna wrap that part up on who this tablet is for. If you find yourself falling into any one of those categories, I can highly suggest that you pick up the iPad Pro 9.7. It's gonna be one of your best choices, if not your best choice in this size range, the 9.7 to 10.5 inch range of tablets on the market. So let me get into a conclusion and yeah, let's get into that. All right, guys, so that pretty much wraps this review up on the iPad Pro 9.7. Now, we didn't go too spec heavy. If you want to read the specs, go on to something like GSM Arena or go on to something like apple.com and read all the specifications. I wanted to give you more of a real world experience kind of review because I think that matters more. You know, a lot of the things that you see on paper doesn't matter so much as, you know, actually what it's like to use this guy in the real world. And a lot of you might be saying like, or thinking this was more of a optimistically biased review, more positive, speaking towards the iPad Pro, but I got to keep it real with you. If the tablet is positive experience, I'm going to give you a positive review. If it's a negative experience, I'm going to give you the negative experiences that I've had with the tablet. But overall, it's a great tablet all around. I've been talking about this the whole review. You cannot go wrong anywhere with this guy in terms of any section of this. If you want great battery life, you get it. If you want great cameras, you get it. If you want great build quality, guess what? You get that too. If you want a great screen, you get that too. If you want great security, you get that too with the fingerprint scanner and fully encrypted once you set a password. If you want streaming gaming performance, you get that. If you want a great media experience from your speakers, you get that too. If you want portability and the ability to do some professional work here, nothing heavy, but you know, some light professional work on the go to show to your clients and things like that, you get that here too. So like I say, very universal, can be used across the board. It's a great tablet and it highly gets my recommendation. And I'm sure once, if you decide to pick this up eventually, or if you already picked this up, you're going to be very happy, or you are already happy with the iPad Pro 9.7. Now all you got to do is kind of decide the color on which one you like, because they got the rose gold option now with the iPad Pro 9.7. Anyways, that's going to wrap this review up. If you guys enjoyed it, please go ahead, click the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel for more technology videos like this. This was a very fun one. And be sure to have a great day wherever you are. I will catch you all in the next episode. Be well. Peace.
No, 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 no,